Do you like to lead and love to read? Well, you're going to love this series. Welcome to the Business Book Review. This week's book is Build, an unorthodox guide to making things worth making by Tony Fadell. This book is written by one of the best product designers of modern history. That's a bold claim, I know, but I can back it up because he invented the iPod and the iPhone, and most recently created the Nest thermostat. Before all of that, he was the CEO of General Magic, which, if you are unfamiliar with that name, you must watch the documentary. I included the link inside the description of this review. It's well worth watching. This company was working on touchscreen technologies in the 90s, before smartphones even existed. He is a person well ahead of his time. This book takes a very interesting journey. At first, I thought this book was the perfect book for people in their 20s wondering how to navigate the world of business. His advice is rock solid on preparing them for how to develop a strong work ethic and get along with people. But as I kept reading, I started thinking, wait, no, this book is perfect for managers who are battling with how to balance being the friendly manager versus the demanding manager who makes their teams high performing. Then later in the book, I realized it's the perfect book for business owners of fast-growing companies, as he talks about how to scale things effectively. And then even later in the book, it felt like it would be a great book for anybody considering private equity or even exiting their business and either retiring or moving on to the next big thing. And finally, I realized the title Build was a description of the journey one takes when developing a world-class business. So while I love the book, it's really hard to give it a 5 out of 5 head tilt, since most likely you're going to be reading portions that might not apply to you depending upon where you're at in your journey. Damn, I loved it. So Macy gives it a 4 out of 5 head tilts, but only for its lack of clarity on the ideal reader. But it's a 5 out of 5 in terms of everything you'll get from the book. In reading this book, one thing is very clear. Tony loves working with teams, and he's a champion at getting the most out of them. If I were to reduce this book down to one theme, which based upon my previous description, you'll know is very hard to do, I'd break it down to how to work with and get the most out of those that you hire. Here are some excerpts from the book that really stood out to me. In the end, there are two things that matter: products and people. What you build and who you build it with. The things you make, the ideas you chase, and the ideas that chase you. To do great things, to really learn, you can't shout suggestions from the rooftop, then move on while somebody else does the work. You have to get your hands dirty. You have to care about every step, lovingly craft every detail. That's another thing I learned from Steve Jobs. He'd always say that analogies give customers superpowers. A great analogy allows a customer to instantly grasp a difficult feature and then describe that feature to others. Just as people make a commitment to your company when they join it, you make a commitment to them. If you're leading a company or a large organization, it's your responsibility to help people identify their challenge areas and give them space and coaching to get better, or help them to find a spot at the company where they can be successful. In the early days of a company, when most people are self-managing, the absolute maximum number of people one human being can effectively manage directly is 8 to 15 full-time employees. As that company grows, that number shrinks to around 7 to 8. One part of the book that jumped out at me was his section on assholes. He describes various types of assholes and which ones you should get rid of and which ones actually can add value. It was really refreshing and what I thought to be a very realistic approach on how to deal with so many varying personalities in a business. This is one of those books that, depending upon where you're at in your entrepreneurial journey, different parts are going to jump out at you more than others. So I'd love to know what parts stand out for you. Please feel free to share some of your favorite ideas from the book in the comments below so we can all benefit from your viewpoint as well. Also, if you've liked this review, please like and share and subscribe so the next time I run a business book review, you'll be the first to know. Also, if you want to get the most out of these business book reviews, I recommend you take my business book scorecard. It's a free Q&A that when you take it will give you a curated list of the top 10 books perfect for you for where you're at on your entrepreneurial journey. I mean, think about it, right? Any book can become a 5 out of 5 if you read it at the right time and the right place of where you're at in your business. Why waste time reading books that don't apply to where you're at in your journey? I've sorted through over 500 business books to find the best books for where you're at in your journey. Just answer a few questions and you get a whole list. So check that out. And until next time, let's all try a little harder to be a little better. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch that book review. If you liked it, I think you might like this one as well. Check it out.